Hey Toyah, it's fantastic to see you. How are
It's
you?
so good to see you. I'm really well, thank you. Stir crazy, but really well, and I feel, lucky. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, you look fantastic. Tell me how lockdown's been for you.
It's been quite remarkable. In the beginning, I was utterly terrified because my husband is 74. I believe I've had COVID, but I'm not going to kind of wave a flag about that until I've been tested. And funny enough, I believe I had it on the 1st of November of last year. So my husband has not had anything like it. So he's 74, and when lockdown started, I was so frightened. I was following him around the house, cleaning everything. I was literally scrubbing his food because we're vegetarian and we only eat fresh produce. We don't eat anything processed.
Wow.
So I was scrubbing carrots, scrubbing courgettes, scrubbing butternut squash. I was just so paranoid. Now, 3 months later, I can't wait to get rid of him.
Because I read somewhere that you guys used to have like separate houses or something. Is that right?
Up until the year 2001, we did have separate houses, and we both lived and worked on separate continents. And my husband then came home, and we have a beautiful home in Worcestershire. We absolutely love it. We are bang on a high street with shops either side. So, we live in a very bustling community and we love being together. But thankfully, my husband has just bought the next door house and he's extending into that. So I like to think
Are
that,
you literally next door neighbours, are you?
well, it will be his offices, but he will kind of be in there in the daytime. And I'm really looking forward to it because in this room, this is my office that overlooks a beautiful Georgian square. In this room, I write books, I write stories, I sometimes paint, I write my albums, I record, I've got all my instruments here. So I look forward to it getting quieter.
That's
I
fantastic.
can't shout because he might be listening.
That's the best thing anybody's told me about, about lockdown. That's brilliant. Now, you've been doing loads on social media as well. I absolutely love watching your lockdown things that you've been posting, and the crazy ideas that you get. Is that coming from you, or is that coming from your husband?
No, it's me. It's all me. I wanted to make him laugh, and I also wanted to make people have something to laugh at. It's very interesting culturally how these films have been received around the world. The dancing films really take off in Asia. It's phenomenal. They obviously love dancing so much. The ones where we're outside and being absurd have actually insulted certain countries. When we first did Swan Lake, which is both of us in a tutu outside, it made the front pages of Italian newspapers, and they said we were mocking their lockdown. And Robert is very eloquent, and he explained that we don't live in a huge stately home. We are in a beautiful market town with a strip of land that we adore, and we garden a lot. And we just said that, England has a history, the UK has a history of absurd humour. So that's what those are about. But they do all come from me.
You've had like incredible views, like 400,000, I think, on the one that you did Heroes, and I just loved it. And you were holding up like cards all the way
Yeah.
through, and the one you did the other week with the handbag, and you were,
Oh,
what's into it's a handbag, just brilliant.
I just love handbag because obviously I've been to many of my husband's concerts, and you're lucky if you see 5 women in the audience. And it's a big joke that if you go to a King Crimson concert, the ladies don't queue for the toilet. They're empty. So the idea was, I said to Robert, how do you bring more women into your audience? And I said, well, if they could dance to the music, they'd come. And obviously you can't dance to King Crimson. You just can't.
The thing that's really impressed me though, like I imagine as an artist, like doing this from home, it's really hard to sort of sing into a camera with no audience, and it's quite easy for it to look quite amateurish, I guess. But yours looks so professional. Is it? Are you? Have you got?
No,
Have you just practiced loads and loads, or?
no, it's just me, the iPhone. We find the iPhone is absolutely superb.
Wow.
We obviously shoot scenarios where we don't edit. We have a lot of natural light in the room that we use, and we're deliberately not being ostentatious. We keep using our very humble kitchen, which would have been a servant's quarters at one point. And what I mean by that, 100 years ago, every family had a maid. So our kitchen is still that layout. It's some of the original features are still in that kitchen. So we always use that kitchen because we want to share with people rather than go, look at us, aren't we special? We are trying to share and to lift people's spirits. So it's the iPhone. The room has a really great natural ambience, and I'm used to singing anywhere. And you've got to remember, if you're used to doing auditions, you have to just sing on the spot. Yeah. So I think that's why it comes across so well. And I've got a really big voice as well.
Yeah, no, it looks so professional. And the Let's Rock one you did as well. Did you have a green screen or something behind you?
Yes. Yeah, I have a green screen studio in the house because I'm always having to connect up with directors and do screen test readings for movies. So I've always had a green screen studio. I have a recording studio. I'm able to record my voice and link up to New York and LA and all of that. So the house is very functional as far as lockdown comes. That said, I'm the voice of Sun Life Insurance. And 2 weeks ago, I did their new campaign, and I said, please, can I go to a professional studio and do this? Because you do about 75 versions of one TV ad. And I said, I don't want to be here in this room all day just marking these takes, because it's very, very precise. So I am starting to move back into professional studios. But that said, I went to Bristol and I was the only person in the building. Wow. And I just linked up like I am with you via Zoom.
No, it looks really amazing. Speaking of voices, though, I've got 2 little boys, and my littlest one remembers. Well, he watches Teletubbies, and you were a voice on there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was the original narrator on Teletubbies. I think now it's Fern Cotton.
Yeah.
So I started doing Teletubbies about 1993 when the very first time it came out, and it was really lovely doing it because the creator Anne Wood just had no idea that it was going to be hugely successful. And before that, I'd worked with her on Pod with Nigel Kennedy, the violinist, and I'd done all the voices of Brum for 6 series. You know, it's Brum, the Little Car's Adventure in the Big Town, brum, brum, brum. So I did all of that. And Anne said, would I come in as a favour and do the narration on Teletubbies? And when I met her, she was really very vulnerable. She thought she had a place at the BBC for the programme, and they pulled it. They said, no, we're not going to use it. We're not taking it. And Anne had mortgaged her house for £60,000 to do the first Teletubbies pilot. And I said, you know, Anne, this is absolutely superb. It's not going to be children that watch it. This is the new magic roundabout. You're going to have students around the world watch it. And then literally 3 months later, it's the biggest thing the BBC ever had. And what happened was the BBC lost a programme. They lost the licence on a programme. So they took Teletubbies back reluctantly. And I think it made them £1 billion in a year.
Wow.
So, you know, mistakes, and, you know, if you're a writer out there, if you're writing music, writing books, if someone says no to you, don't take it personally. It's their mistake.
Wow. What a good story. Speaking of children, though, my other son, shares the same birthday as you. So
May the 18th.
May the 18th. So he had his lockdown birthday this year. We had to do a little party over Zoom with his friends and things like that. Tell me what you did for your birthday.
I had a really lovely birthday. So many people were sending messages. And the thing is, I have never been very active with social media. I'm very dyslexic. So I forget sequences of things. And I think when you do social media, you have to have a kind of a brain that can sequence things. So because of lockdown, I've made a huge effort to do more on social media and to connect with the fans. So my birthday was probably one of the best ever because of this, because so many messages were coming in and they were so lovely and they were so giving. It was probably one of the most special birthdays I've ever had.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear. Tell me about some of the other things you've got coming up then, because I know that you're doing the Rewind drive-in shows.
Rewind is doing 3 announced drive-in shows, 28th, 29th, 30th of August. And I don't know if I've got the order right. There's Newmarket Racecourse. There's a farm in London, which I've forgotten the name of. But anyway, if you go on Toyah Wilcox official,
Bolton.
you can see
Bolton, there's one at Bolton, isn't there?
Yeah, Bolton Arena. Thank you very much. If these go well, they're going to add 9 more. Or 5 more. It's quite a large number anyway. So they're just going to see how it goes. And where they've made this very special and quite unique up to this point is they've managed to get enough land for people to get out of their cars and dance. Whereas the past drive-ins, you've had to stay in the cars. So this, I think, is going to be much more effective.
You've got a great lineup. You've got the doctor presenting, haven't you? Hosting it all, who's fantastic.
We've got 5 presenting, Doctor and the Medics. We've got Claire Grogan and Altered Images.
Yeah,
and 17. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah,
I'm coming on and I'm doing playback because the turnaround is going to be so complex, and we're going to have probably a 10th of the crew that we normally have, but we'll have the big screens. So visually, and as far as the audience goes, they're getting the full Rewind in your face show. But there's going to be less crew just because this is a smaller event to a smaller audience. So I'm going to be working to playback. I think Heaven 17 will be the full band.
Wow. But if you're parked really far back, will you still be able to see quite a lot?
Yeah, because of the big screens, you'll have all of those visuals will be exactly the same.
And your tour that you had planned for this year, that's been postponed for next year.
Toyah and Hazel starts again in May and June of next year. Fingers crossed that venues will be able to open by then. Then I am doing an acoustic electronica tour, and then I'm touring Anthem. So I've got 3 tours next year, and that's because I'm having to cram the whole of 2020 into 2021, as well as what was planned for 21. It's going to be a remarkable year.
I just realised actually the Rewind tickets go on sale today.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's kind of they're doing a special today, and then it's broadened out to a larger public, I think, tomorrow. But yeah.
And not only that, you've got a CD, DVD compilation out.
It's been quite a busy year. Toyah Solo came out this year, which was a 7 CD box set of all the albums I've made from 1985 onwards. Oh. That's just been a huge success. And then on the 3rd of July last week, Toyah and the Humans was released. And this is an art rock project I have with the drummer from REM, Bill Rieflin, and my guitarist, Chris Wong. And that's a 4 CD box set with my husband guesting on one of the albums is called Sugar Rush. So all of these were made in Seattle, and we toured around the world for the last 15 years. Sadly, my co-writer, Bill Rieflin, who was drumming in REM, passed away in lockdown from cancer, not from COVID. So the whole box set is in memory of him. And Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam has named the Humans as his top 10 favourite band. So, very proud of that. And that's given us amazing kudos. So it's been a good year for releases, and there's more coming. All my back catalogue is being released through Cherry Red Records at the end of the year, and into January next year, I'm going to have the whole of my catalogue will be available, wow, which is very exciting. So that Sheep Farming in Barnet, Blue Meaning, Anthem, The Changeling, Love is the Law, Toyah, Toyah, Toyah are all going to be re-released, and we're packaging them now, and it looks amazing.
Wow, you have so much going on, don't you? I have to ask, the disc that's behind you.
Yeah. Oh, that's my first gold disc. That's for Anthem from 1981. Anthem went platinum. So I'm in lockdown in Worcester. All my gold and platinum discs are in London. So I've been doing a lot of celebrity messaging, which is where you just record a message to someone on your phone and send it them. And I realized, people want to see your accolade. Yeah. Well, all my awards are in London. So last week I had to go to London for a screen test, and I picked up one of my discs. So I've just put it behind me so people know that I have gold discs.
Oh, it's fantastic. How do you fit in that? If you're doing screen tests and things, that will be for more acting, I presume. How are you going to be able to do that as well as everything that you've got planned for?
It's a really, really good question, Helen, because we don't know. every job that we do, we will have to go into quarantine for and create a pod. So if a movie is going to go forward, and I know Mission Impossible is being shot on the streets of London at the moment, you have to isolate with the whole crew, and that will be law. I was auditioning last week for a TV series that will be 5.5 months, and we will all have to live together and quarantine together for that period in time. I don't mind that. That doesn't worry me at all. But that, that's just safety for all.
Yeah, wow, things are changing, aren't they? One other thing that I was going to ask you, just before I do 10 quickfire questions, I loved watching you on Splash. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I think you had a real tough job being up against the likes of Perry, but just tell me a little bit about that.
God, Perry was just amazing. Perry, that human being is one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. He is the most open, gorgeous. Well, he's a man now. He was a boy in 2013, 2014. I mean, wow. He just absolutely blew me away. And he'd go up to the 10-meter board and he would just dive. Now, even Tom Daly gets freaked at the 10-meter. He says it's nerve-wracking every time. And I said to Perry, how do you do it so well? And he said, I can't see. He really cannot see a thing. And he said, I am nervous, but I just don't know what's coming. So for me, it was a huge achievement for me, because the program went out in 2014. I'm 62 now. So what was that? 2014, 6 years ago. I was, do the math for me, 56? 56. Thank you. To do a 5-meter dive at the age of 56, having had hip replacement, I think I did really well. And it hurt like hell. Every time it hurt like hell.
Remember the bruises and everything? It's incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, you would get bruises from hitting the water, because it's the equivalent of hitting a brick wall at 30 miles an hour, no matter how good you are. And you get used to that, but it's still really scary. And there was a lovely presenter on with me who does a dating program now called Anna Williams. She did a 10-meter in the rehearsal on the day before we went live, and she hit the water in the wrong way and it pulled her eyelids back. And she came out of the water and her eyes were bleeding. And she was rushed to hospital, but she still did the dive that evening. I'm not surprised that isn't running anymore. It was so dangerous.
Oh my God. You know what though, even just to come out in your swimming costume, amazing. You're so brave to do that. I mean, you've got a fabulous figure, but you're still so brave to do that.
They made a beautiful costume. It had a bra sewn in, it had knickers sewn in, because when you hit that water, everything comes off your body, everything. So that you had to literally be sewn into the tightest corseted costume that would not free your boobs as you hit the water. So it was very flattering.
Oh, well done for doing that. Now, I've got 10 quickfire questions, if that's okay, just whatever comes into your head,
okay,
as quick as possible. So, favourite hair colour that you had in the 80s?
It would be a mixture of orange and pink, which was an accident. I went to have my hair done for the video Brave New World, and I was going to go pink, but they needed to peroxide my roots, and they accidentally put orange on my roots afterwards, and it looked phenomenal. Two-tone hair.
Fantastic, absolutely. Favourite picture that you've got on your phone?
That would be of my co-writer, Bill Rieflin, who I loved so much. He was my best friend, and he was my greatest influence as an artist. He taught me how to write music, how to perform. He did so much for me in the short time I knew him. So it would be any picture of Bill Rieflin on my phone.
Last time I interviewed you, I asked you the best thing about turning 60, and you gave me this brilliant answer about how you've got rid of all the rubbish in your life and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm going to ask it you again, see if that's still the same. Best thing about turning 60?
Well, I'd like to tag on to that question and lockdown. So I think the best thing about being 60 and lockdown is you do you're ready to eliminate things that cause you stress. And for me, stress comes when I can't be alone when I'm working. I'm so married to my work. It's my church. And if anything interferes with the quality of what I do, I get tremendously stressed. So I would say the best thing about being 60 is acknowledging that and facing it and doing something about it. And the best thing about lockdown is realizing other things that eat away at you and just clearing them off the table.
Fantastic. Best thing that you've watched during lockdown?
Where do I start? Hollywood, beautiful drama. I May Destroy You, phenomenal drama about sexual assault, and also Bubblegum, both by the same writer. I want to say her name, and I'm so scared of getting it wrong because I'm so rubbish with names. I think it's Nikolai. Oh no, I'm not even going to go there because I will just get it wrong and be offensive. There has been so much good drama out there, and written by the most brilliant people and performed by the best actors. It's just, you watch it and you go, yes, this is why I want to act.
Oh, brilliant answer. Favourite chocolate bar?
Well, it will always be Cadbury's Dairy Milk, but I don't allow myself to eat it.
Really? That strict, are you?
And in lockdown, never. Nothing in the house, nothing in the house except vegetables and fruit. I have one girlfriend who I absolutely adore, and I talked to her a couple of weeks ago, and she's gone up 4 dress sizes. And I said, what are you eating? And she said, oh, well, I'm eating 2 meals at every meal. I said, why are you eating 2 meals at every meal? Because I'm bored. And then I have cake at 4. And I just say, okay, get a dustbin liner, throw the lot away, stock your cupboards with things you hate eating, and you will lose weight. And no one listens to this from me. This house is stocked with stuff I can't abide eating. Therefore, you don't eat it. So,
well, you need to do one of these shows where, you tell people all about this sort of healthy stuff. It'd be brilliant.
Well, it's a hard one because, if some people are locked in a house with people that stay skinny and eat whatever they want, those people are in trouble. So it's really hard to give advice on this because it is always completely subjective. But, luckily my husband's vegetarian and really won't eat anything processed. So that helps me. But I know if I've got a cake in the house, I am going to stay awake for 24 hours until I've eaten it. So I just can't have it.
I know exactly how you feel. But unfortunately, I do eat it though. Favorite gig from last year?
Of mine? Oh, I think it's always the O2 Islington, but I think I did that this year. It would be one of the big festivals. I went over to Belgium and I did an electronica festival in August, and I absolutely adored it. When you do festivals in the UK, it's so frenzied, and it's when we arrived in Belgium, we took the Eurostar, me and the band, and we drove an hour and a half from where you get off in Belgium to the venue, which was a huge expo unit, and it was so calm, and it was almost quiet, and there was hot food backstage, and everyone was just calm, and every job was done, and my band and I, we looked at each other and said, we have never known this calm. We've never known it. And the gig was just phenomenal. So probably Belgium last year.
Favourite 80s song? Not yours. Not one of yours, sorry.
This is a really hard one. It would either be Mark Ullman's Tainted Love, or it would be Orchestral Manoeuvres Nola Gay, if that was 80s and not late 70s.
You toured with Mark, didn't you?
Yeah, I work with Mark a lot. I absolutely adore him. He is. What I love about Mark, he lives and acts in a way I would love to experience. He has management with him. He has people look after him. He's so laid back. And when we were in Bali exactly a year ago, he stayed for a 2-week holiday, whereas I flew back 6 hours after the gig to go and play Butlins in Bognor, as did most of the band. you know, he just has his work lifestyle ratio utterly balanced, whereas mine's work. My lifestyle ratio is down there. So
I can definitely see your work is up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really, really admire Mark because he's a great artist. His music is phenomenal. And when these songs start, when he's on stage and he starts Tainted Love and all his other hits, the audience go bonkers because it's all about movement and dance. And I just think he's got it so right.
Favourite thing that a fan's ever given you?
I'm very lucky. My fans give me the most amazing things. They give me lots of artwork, books. I absolutely adore books. I'm a constant reader and I love horror and science fiction. But I think one of the most extreme things I was ever given came from one of the royal palaces in Saudi Arabia, and one of the princesses who must have holidayed in the UK in 1981 over the summer sent a book. And it would have been stamped with the official stamp of the Saudi royal family. And I opened the book up and it was hollowed out and there was a gold ring, really beautiful gold ring in there, and a necklace, gold necklace. And she said, I'm a huge fan of yours. I love your music, but I'm not allowed to talk about you or mention how I discovered your music. And that was literally what it said. And I've still got the necklace and the ring.
Wow, incredible. Favourite place that you've ever visited?
Ooh, I have a permanent place in my heart for Thailand. And I've not been there for decades. When I was a travel correspondent for BBC Holiday, I worked there a lot. And I love it because it's a Buddhist community, it's a Buddhist culture, which makes the people very laid back and very, very generous and open. It's an extraordinary place to visit. And I hope it's like that still today, as it was 20 years ago. And the food is fantastic.
I was going to ask you finally your favourite thing about lockdown, but you've kind of told me a little bit about sort of using it to clear out any rubbish. But anything else you want to add?
Favourite thing about lockdown that's a very different question, and I think my favourite thing would be about that 3 weeks in lockdown. The first 3 weeks, as scary as it was, the silence was beautiful. My phone wasn't ringing. I was completely disconnected from the world in a way, and I got my best ideas in those 3 weeks. So that for me was very special, and I now know if I went off grid, my creativity is still there to be tapped on.
Oh, yeah, brilliant. Now, you did tell me you wanted me to ask you about your Carole Decker story, because I love Carole Decker and I interviewed her and it was like every other word. Tell me your Carole Decker story.
Okay. Bents Park, which is near Sunderland, I believe. My band, we were doing an afternoon concert in Bents Park, which we were approaching as if it was a festival. And Carole Decker was guesting in the middle of the Toyah concert, doing a 20-minute, half-hour set with my band, and then I came back on. So Carole didn't watch the first half of my set. So when she walked on stage, she saw 800 deck chairs. And I don't know what she was expecting, whether she was expecting a stand-up audience. But the first thing she said was, come on, you fuckers, get on your feet and dance. Well, the average age was 80. And it was... I was going
to say that. Oh my gosh.
It was breathtaking. And she was insisting that people got up and danced. And like we go, Carole, they can't dance. They can't dance. Don't ask them. There's not enough ambulances here. Don't ask them. Just go on, you're so boring. Get on your fucking feet.
Brilliant story.
She's fantastic. She is so fantastic. I adore her. Get on your fucking feet.
Oh yeah, it is such a pleasure to speak to you. I think you're fantastic. I hope that, you know, the rest of the year goes fantastically, that these drive-ins go brilliantly. Hopefully I'll be able to come and see you at one of those. And yeah, look forward to seeing you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And good luck with all your other interviews.
Oh, thank you very much.
Good to see you.